That is actually correct. We have the new Common Core standards are requiring a very different way of teaching math, and I know many parents have struggled this year or the last couple years with this new way of teaching math. It's very process driven. So they're often told they'll have their children come home with math homework and they will teach them a way that they had learned, and their children will tell them we can't solve the math problem that way. It's always promoted around the state that this is just an in addition to, a new way of learning math, and that they can solve problems in many different ways. But in actual practice, that's not what's happening in the classroom. And the reason for this is because on the assessment tests, the tests will be very process driven, and so the kids will have to be able to solve the math problems in this very specific, long, drawn out way, and it is very different than the math that you and I learned. Now this math was not piloted anywhere, and the teachers in Idaho have gone to a weekend course, some maybe a week, but very little training has been provided to the teachers to prepare them to teach math in this new way. And so we see kids that are really struggling. It was one of the reasons that I pulled my child out of school, was because of this very reason, that she was coming home so frustrated. She actually is very good at math and could solve problems without writing out these very complex solutions, and she just could not understand why the problem had to be solved that way, and so we found another option, and she's very accelerated in math using the traditional methods. Now the traditional methods that have been taught for years actually are the methods that are used in the highest performing countries and the highest performing states in the nation. Have never used the way that have not taught math the way the Common Core standards are choosing to teach math. And so we are making a break from what has traditionally been done around the world and in our nation, and nobody's piloted it anywhere. And so, we're taking a big risk here, and for those that are a little ahead of us in Kentucky and in New York, the test scores are falling. The authors of the math standards, his name is Jason Zimba, when he was testifying, I believe it was in Massachusetts, before their legislature, he said that the Common Core math standards are designed to prepare kids for a non-selective 2-year college, not the competitive colleges that most parents are hoping to get their children into.
Agreement that I believe we have on this.
Thank you. Thank you.
The definition of college readiness, I think it's a fair critique that it's a minimal definition of college readiness.
For some colleges.
Well, for the colleges most kids go to, but not that most parents probably aspire, right?
It's not for STEM. It's not for international
That's true. It's not only not for STEM, it's also not for selective colleges that, for example, UC Berkeley, even whether you're going to be an engineer or not, you'd better have pre-calculus to get into UC Berkeley, right?
But we have to think of our engineering colleges
and that's
scientific
That's true.
education.
I think the third pathway goes a lot towards that, but your issue is really broader than that.
Oh, yes.
So I just wanted to make sure that we got that out.
I'm not just thinking of selective colleges. There's a much broader question here.
That's right. It's both, I think, in the sense of being clear about what this college readiness does and doesn't get you, and that's the big subject.
But not to call something college ready when it only applies to a certain kind of college and a certain lower level of mathematical expertise that won't buy you far on the international market in most major disciplines of technology, economics, business, and so on.
Okay, thank you. That's fair.